Hello everyone, I hope you're doing great. In this video, I'm gonna go and explain a little bit about the Izadom 3D software I've been working on. Um, we are gonna go and quick take a look at the features and the goal of the software. Obviously, it's a developing software, so I want to show you like what is the progress, why I'm doing this, and what would be the purpose of creating such software. So in order to access it before anything else, let's go to the GitHub of mine. So we're going to torabian.github.io. And then from the product section, you can go to Izadom. And you can download it either for Android. At the time you're watching, maybe other desktops are available, but mainly the demo will be always available regardless of anything. And it works almost exactly the same as any desktop version. That's the same build from the same code. Now I'm going to use the desktop version to explain a little bit about the features. So to say, initially, the problem with most CAD softwares is they are really general, and I wanted to have a software which is a little bit specific to like single family, double family, like single or double story houses, kind of garages, small constructions that a small team can do. And one issue is on the construction is a lot of times workers, people building it, they are calculating on the scene. And my initial idea was, for example, if you want to calculate a wall, why we have to go and measure it on the scene and cut them there? Why not to cut them on a workshop and then just assemble them on the place? That's why I created this one. And I'm really gonna go quickly to the tools which is available, not necessarily deeply that how it will work or how it relates to the construction itself. So far on November version, we have the home menu, scene, insert, and export. And the home is a little bit self-explanatory. You have a load save that you can save your scene, like what you have created, and then load it again to continue work on it, and reset, which would be basically clearing the scene from the objects. There are two samples in it at the moment, like the steel rebar and then a rebar with the columns. They're like what I've created and placed in the software in order to kind of help people who are joining the app, like to have a quick review. Let's go to the scene. There is only one action here, that's deselect. And then if you select something, for example, this one, and then you can deselect it. And also you can do it with the escape key, obviously, but yeah, so like you can select an element, move or do rotations, and then like just cancel. By the way, the software, I think it's very performant, but I'm doing it inside a VM. That's why it might feel a little bit slowly. So there is no worry about that. I'm gonna go to the home menu, reset, and go to the insert menu, which has the most features at the moment. One thing is the gable wall. So the gable wall is those kind of walls you put like triangular, and you can, for example, in the behind of the house, when there is not much of a need for custom design, you just put this triangular wall and then cut them. And you can create such walls here. So the premise is very simple. You have a height, you have a base width, and then you have a left offset. So in the construction, it's not always kind of like straight, exactly the same sides, and so it might be a little bit towards the left, towards the right, so you can adjust that, measuring and adjusting it based on the wood panels on the roof. And it's very simple. You have a name for it: height, base, left offset, load balance, which would change a little bit the structure automatically in order to give it more strength. But you have to try with it, because it might be working for a dimension, it might not work perfectly. And then a material selection system. So if I go and select a material, for example, from this block and then continue, I would see a gable wall at an angle has been created for me. And of course I can move it or like select a particular element and say, I don't want this. And over time I can replace it with like other kind of uh, enforcement and put a window, for example, here. Yeah, so this you see like solves a lot of problems, calculates exact angles, and then if I go to the export and I can see like those kind of parameters to know it and cut in advance. Now it is not very helpful with this format giving it to people, but that's something to be improved in the other versions. So that's what export does basically. Excuse me. So going to the next feature, let's go to brick grid wall. So you can create a wall and it gets you how many bricks horizontally and how many bricks vertically. And I'm gonna give it a 5 and a 5. And then you have an option for invert placement. So like, is it gonna start with a cut or is it gonna start with a hole? Interlocks at start and end, and the mortar size, and then again the material. So I'm gonna select that, create this wall. You see like it has interlock in the start, interlock in the end. If I move this small pivot point, I can create the next element here. So I'm gonna go and create the brick wall and then do not interlock it at all. And I'm gonna use a different material and you will see like now it is not having this interlocking option. It's pre-filled both on the end and in the front side. So you can imagine you can build any kind of walls that you need and it's going to calculate the exact dimensions and then you can cut them one, calculate them how many you need, and then like you just go and place it on the scene. Now, there is another tool called dimension wall, and the dimension wall is a bit different because it asks for how many centimeters in the height and the width versus how many blocks you want to put. In some scenarios, you don't care like if it's like 10 centimeters less or more, so you will reduce the fact that you don't cut them, and it simplifies your work a lot maybe. And so in a scenario that you need exact 3 meters by 3 meters, then the cutting is a little bit different. So if I could explain it very well, is that you want to have a wall roughly something by how many bricks you use, or you want to have exact dimension. And this is the very same and similar policy. And then if I use it and then have an interlock at start, it would make exactly that width and height I have requested. And you see like this is a bit smaller because we wanted that exact size. And yeah, so I go and select the element, delete it, and then we go back to our scene. There's a rebar. Rebar is an interesting structural thing that you can create. I'm just gonna like show it and create it. You can play with the options. So it's like reinforcement you put inside the concrete, and then it's very useful either for columns or beams. And I'm gonna add this one. You see this is called like a beam kind of a thing, or maybe for useful for foundation. Let's move this here. Let's go and create another rebar, and then we do it as column this time, and it creates a column rebar. Now the calculations on this is not extremely accurate at the moment. So in a perfect column system, you usually have to have inner bends, and then each line are not having the same equal height, which is not applied here. But so far it kind of resembles it, that kind of a requirement. Now I'm gonna move this cursor here and then have a bended rod. It's like very simple. If you want to bend a rod, and then you just add it. It's a bended rod, and you can use it in applications when you're connecting to elements. Going back to the menu, there is a single brick option. Very simple. You just click a brick, puts there. If you cut it something, if you want to replace it with something, that's what it is. And there is another thing called structural slab, non-structural slab, which is like basically a concrete. You would put, let's say, a depth of 10 centimeters, 5 by 5 on the ground floor or any kind of floor, basically. And it would put that and resemble it. Another menu is a rebar mesh. You might guess it's gonna make a network of the mesh. So I'm gonna have a 200 by 200 and then the cell size, and it creates me this kind of like map, like a mesh network for reinforcement under the columns, or can be, if it's lighter, used inside the slabs. Yeah, so the last tool here is the staircase. I'm gonna create a staircase. It's like cantilever staircase, and it would calculate for me and put the elements here. I could choose different sizing, distance, and all those, like rise and run. I'm gonna go and clear a little bit the scene because we have so many elements here placed, and I'm gonna go to the insert menu and the foundation. So foundations are a bit different. Their brick system is a bit different, and you can use this tool to create that. And the thing is, it's kind of a bit automated for what it does. And when you're selecting a width and height and depth, it would create that, interlock them all, and then now you can build your walls on top of these and place them. That's like maybe slab first, and then like the way you design, they put the first row and then pour the concrete on it. Now there is also a polystyrene insulation tool that you would use, and it would create like this kind of a polystyrene, like in Poland they call this styropian, ionolit in Iran, and these are kind of styrofoams that insulate, and this tool helps you to create such tools. Now, movement with the keyboard is a little possible. You can use arrows. I used arrows on the keyboard to relocate the element, and yeah, so that's all. I'm gonna create this kind of scene. You can play with it to match it with your foundation actually, and then insulate it. And another tool is the window. So you can have a window kind of a thing. It creates a transparent element, resembles a glass rather than a window at the moment, but you get the idea. What is the idea actually here? Let me delete the foundation. And yeah, so you see like it's a bit kind of transparent-ish, but it's not really rendered here because of the VM, I believe. It doesn't really do a good job. So you get the idea. The goal is to have these materials instead of like hypothetical sizes, that you can choose a material, bend, cut, and put in place. And then in the workshops that you have, you will do these things, and you don't go on the construction and start thinking what I'm supposed to do now, how to implement this. And I think it's going to be a very invaluable tool in that sense, because the CAD software, especially AutoCAD, they don't have this. You can configure it, of course, to kind of do anything, but this is ready to use. Rather like if you take a look at the Fusion 360, it's kind of a cloud-based, managed with devices and then printers. Though still very general, but they're going towards that goal. And I hope I can contribute a little bit to the construction community. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video so far with me. Thank you.